Have you ever imagined being born during one of the most dangerous times in history, when your very existence was a threat? This is exactly how the story of one of the greatest leaders of all time began. Moses, a baby condemned to death, miraculously saved and prepared to change the destiny of an entire nation. Every detail of this story has an impressive purpose that will amaze you from beginning to end. In ancient Egypt, the Hebrews lived as slaves, working under the cruel command of Pharaoh. The Hebrew population was growing rapidly, and this frightened the king, who feared losing control. In a desperate act, Pharaoh decreed that every newborn Hebrew boy should be thrown into the Nile River. A cruel decree that seemed impossible to challenge, but it would become the beginning of one of history's greatest turnarounds. Among the terrified families were Jochebed and Amram, who had just had a son. Moses. Determined to save him, Jochebed hid him for 3 months. Imagine the fear, the desperation of trying to muffle a baby's cry amidst the constant threat of Egyptian soldiers. When it was no longer possible to hide him, she made a risky decision. She prepared a basket of reeds waterproofed it with tar and pitch and placed the baby in the waters of the Nile, trusting that God would protect that small, defenseless life. As the basket floated along the river, the unexpected happened. Pharaoh's daughter, while bathing, spotted the basket. Curious, she ordered it to be brought to her. When she opened it, she found the baby crying and, moved by compassion, decided to adopt him. Defying her father's own decree, Moses' sister, who was watching from a distance, approached and suggested a nursemaid to care for the baby, and brought none other than Jochebed, Moses' own mother. Thus, Moses could be nursed and cared for by his mother, now protected by royalty. Moses grew up as a prince in Pharaoh's palace, receiving the best education Egypt could offer. Even while living among wealth and power, his heart carried the pain and hope of his enslaved people. Nothing happened by chance. Every stage of his childhood was carefully prepared to shape him into the liberator, who would lead his people to freedom. The birth of Moses was not just an act of survival. It was the first chapter of a story of courage, faith, and destiny. How many times in our lives do situations that seem like the end actually become the beginning of something much greater? The story of Moses shows us that, even in the midst of difficulties, a purpose is working behind the scenes. If you enjoyed this story and want to keep following inspiring biblical stories, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and share this video with someone who needs to hear this message. See you in the next chapter of this incredible journey.